Hey everybody, it's Garrett over here at Corporate Fitness Works. I'm over here at the Aspiria Fitness Center, and today I will be teaching a mobility and more formatted class. For today's class, you guys, equipment that I will be utilizing, first and foremost, is going to be a mat. I'll be using some space here for our dynamic warm-up, going back and forth. Per usual, if you guys don't have the space available to you, that's totally fine. You guys can just do everything stationary where you're at. Other than that, I'll be utilizing 3 weights here for our core finisher. Weights don't necessarily matter, but you guys can go about moderate intensity for those. Like I said, just a couple of weights. If you guys don't have weights available to you, you guys can just grab a couple of miscellaneous items, and I will kind of get into the greater detail on that once we get to our core finisher. And then lastly, I'll be utilizing these 3 yoga blocks here. Obviously, if you guys don't have yoga blocks available to you, if you have something of this similar size, that would totally work as well. Basically, we're just gonna be utilizing these as little barriers. So if you have hurdles, yoga blocks, I'll get into greater detail with that once we get into our mobility section. But yeah, go ahead guys, get all of that equipment if you have that available to you. For today's workout, you guys, we are going to start off per usual, getting stretched out statically in our lower body with this resistance band, okay? Thicker, moderate resistance band. If you guys have one available to you, you guys can grab that as well. If you guys don't have that, you guys can just utilize a longer bath towel as well, which should work as well. Once we're done with our static stretch, we're gonna get a little bit more dynamically warmed up, getting into a dynamic warm-up, all right? After we get stretched out, doing both our static and dynamic warm-up, we're gonna get into our mobility work for today. Mobility work we're gonna do, you guys, we're gonna work on hip mobility, okay? So increasing the range of motion and strengthening that hip flexor, hip joint area, all right? It's a big socket joint, so lots of movement there, okay? So we obviously need to keep it well tuned, all right? So what we're gonna do for that is we're gonna do 4 different movements, okay? And all these movements can be utilized in your mobility regimen to help strengthen and increase that range of motion in that hip socket, all right? Once we finish up those 4 movements, we'll go through all of them, kind of go over when you can utilize them, kind of sets of reps, kind of go over that stuff. Once we finish up with all of that, we are gonna get into a nice little core finisher to wrap up today's little workout. For that, we'll just have 4 different exercises. We'll be doing a couple rounds there, and all that's gonna be timed, all right? So that's what we got for today's work, guys. We'll go ahead and get stretched out here. So if you do have a thicker, moderate band available to you, you guys can go ahead and grab that. We're gonna go ahead, sit on down, lay it on back. We're gonna get through this 4-way resistance band stretch, all right? If you guys have joined me in any of these videos, if you guys have done this before, all right? We're just gonna start off looping that band at that ball of the foot, okay? Make sure we have pretty good tension here, okay? If you have that longer bath towel, you won't have as much elasticity, obviously, but it should work just the same. Go ahead, guys. We're gonna hold each position about 20, 30 seconds. So we'll start off getting those hammies stretched out. All right, as that hamstring gets more and more loose, you guys can pull it tighter and tighter to that head and neck area. All right, still making sure that we're keeping that knee relatively straight, that leg relatively straight here. Let's go ahead, guys, drop that leg to that same side here. Let's get those adductors or that groin area stretched out. All right, same thing, as you guys get more comfortable in this position, you guys can raise this foot higher to the head and neck area, and you're gonna get a deeper stretch in that groin area. let's go ahead, guys. Bring that leg across that body. Let's still keep that back attached to the ground here. All right, we're gonna get that outer IT band glute area stretched out. All right, so you guys should feel the glutes, kind of that outer part of the leg getting worked here. Same thing, guys, pull it up close to that head and neck area to get a tighter, deeper stretch. All right, yes, you can go ahead, sit it on up. Let's raise that band a little bit on that foot. All right, we're gonna pull to get that calf stretched out here. All right, so front part of that foot. All right, make sure when you guys are doing this, you guys are moving that foot around, getting all parts of that calf stretched out here. All right, we're gonna go ahead, guys. Go ahead and switch that band on over to that other foot here. We're gonna just go ahead and do everything we just did on that first foot on that second leg here. All right, so kick back, keep that leg relatively straight. Start off with that low tension, and then as that hamstring gets nice and loosened up, you guys can bring it closer and closer to that head and neck area. Let's go ahead and bring that leg to that same side. Go ahead, guys, bring that leg across the body here. All right, let's go ahead and sit it on up. Raise that band ever so slightly on that foot. All right, we're gonna get that calf stretched out here, guys. Once we do, we're gonna be done with our static stretching here. For our lower body, I should say. Get that upper body, those shoulders a little bit more warmed up here in a second. Nice, guys. You can go ahead, get that band, and get that out of the way now. We're done with that. All right, next up, guys, we're gonna get our shoulders a little bit warmed up here. All right, so we're gonna do some arm circles here. All right, with some arm swings. We're gonna start off palms facing the ground here. Okay, and let's start off with small circular rotations, going with a forward motion here. All right, start off small, start off that small frequency, and then as we go, you guys make those circles a little bit bigger here. All right, increasing that range of motion in that shoulder joint, shoulder cavity. And let's go ahead, guys, as we go, make those circles as big as we can make them here. All right, until we eventually get that full range of motion. Right, nice, guys. We'll go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and flip those palms to the ceiling here. All right, we're still gonna go and start off that small circular rotations. Well, instead this time, let's go ahead with a reverse motion. All right, keep those palms up. Same thing, guys, as we progress, make those circles a little bit bigger. And let's go ahead and make those circles as big as we can make them. All right, nice, guys. Get some arm hugs in here. All right, open up that back, open up that chest a little bit. All right, crossing those arms over, alternating. All right, excellent. All right, guys, upper body's feeling a little bit more warmed up, ready to go. Next up, guys, we're gonna get into that dynamic warm-up, all right? So if you guys have joined me in one of these classes before, you guys have gone through this, all right? What these dynamic warm-ups accomplish is basically we're still getting a good stretch, okay? So getting lower body, all those muscles, getting them actively primed, prepped, ready to go. This is just gonna be a more practical way of getting that body warmed up, okay? As opposed to just statically stretching, holding a position for a set period of time, okay? This is gonna actually put you in that range of motion that you guys are gonna be in when you guys are doing your workouts, okay? So I highly recommend doing this prior to any type of workout where you're doing any type of moderate, any type of strength training, any type of moderate intensity strength training, anything like that, okay? So we'll go ahead and get into that, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and walk this out about 6 to 8 yards, but if you guys don't have the space available, you guys can just do this in your stationary position for about 15, 30 seconds, or however long that I'm going for, okay? Start off, guys, we're gonna do a quad stretch, getting that front part of the thigh engaged, stretched out here. All right, so let's go ahead and grab that opposite, or that same foot ankle area. All right, we're gonna reach and extend with that opposite hand and that opposite toe, okay? Make sure when you guys are pulling up on that we're not going forward or hinging back, okay? Keep everything nice and neutral, nice and tall, all right? Like I said, go every step of the way through walking it out, 6 to 8 yards. And I will be taking this down and back, all right? So you guys can do this stationary for, like I said, about 20 to 40 seconds. Once you guys get that extension, try to hold that top position for a second or two, right, to get that quad really stretched out. All right, flipping around, coming back. Next up, guys, we're gonna do a hip flexor, knee tuck, stretch, all right? So here, guys, we're gonna grab that front part of the knee every single time, pulling it into the chest. You guys should feel that glute getting worked, all right? Once you guys pull it into your chest, we're going and extending on that down toe, pulling up, okay? Just like we did last time, make sure we're not bending at the back, all right? Going straight up with it, holding it for a second or two, all right? You guys should feel that hip flexor getting worked, and then you guys should feel that same glute getting worked. Same thing, guys, we're gonna take this every step of the way. Stretch. All right, so here we're going to cradle, knee and ankle. All right, pulling up simultaneously. You guys should feel that glute getting stretched, getting worked. All right, per usual, hold for a second or two to really get that stretch. Okay, alternate every step of the way. And on this, guys, just make sure we're pulling up simultaneously. Okay, don't pull too hard on that knee, too hard on the ankle. All right, pull up simultaneously with that same force every step of the way. Next up, guys, we're going to get the posterior part of the legs engaged here, those hamstrings, with walking hamstring sweeps. All right, for this, guys, we're gonna walk. Every time we kick out that leg, keep it relatively straight. All right, we're gonna hinge, all right, making sure we're getting that hammy stretched out. Going ahead, sweeping into every step, okay? Alternate it as you go, all right? Remember, guys, we're hinging, not squatting, all right? 6 to 8 yards, guys, down and back. Guys, next up, we're going to go through our lunge complex, all right, which is going to be definitely a more dynamic warm-up exercise, all right. Start off, we'll do forward lunges, okay, down and back, all right. On these, guys, we're practicing perfect form here, syncing up those quads, glutes, hamstrings, okay. So for that, guys, make sure we're taking a big step out every single time, okay. Make sure when you guys are going down that you guys are keeping that knee out, okay, not letting it collapse in, all right? And then also make sure that when we're going down, make sure that we're not dropping that chest, okay? Keep it nice and upright, all right? Okay? Second thing we do after that, those forward lunges down and back, we're gonna do reverse lunges, okay? Same thing here, perfect reps every single time. Only difference here is instead of taking that big step forward, we're gonna take that big step back, okay? All right, same thing, guys. Keep that chest up, all right? Keep that front knee out, all right? And then the last thing we're gonna do for that lunge complex is gonna be side lunges, all right? For this, guys, we're gonna work that frontal plane, okay? Working that frontal plane. Here, we're gonna take a big step to that side, all right? Make sure those feet aren't too wide, all right, or too close. Kind of get that nice spacing, all right? Here, we're gonna shift to one side, shift to that other side, and then we are flipping it around, okay? Swapping every time we go, okay? Same thing, down and back on that one, you guys, and that will complete that lunge complex. All right, so forward lunge, reverse lunge, and that side lunge. All right, remember, guys, perfect reps every time. Step back here. Okay, next up, side lunges. Big step to that side. Let's sink, sink, and flip it. Don't forget to set those hips back as well before you sink down to those sides. Nice, guys. All right, last thing we're gonna do here for this dynamic warm-up, we're gonna get those that upper body, and in particular those shoulders, a little bit more engaged here, all right, with inchworms, all right? Everybody's favorite, all right? So this, guys, we're gonna inchworm it out, okay, to the cone and back, all right? If you guys don't have space, you guys can just do about 6 to 8 reps, okay? So these guys, we're walking those hands out, starting off nice and tall, okay? Going all the way into that high plank position, all right? Once we're here, guys, we're tiptoeing those feet up to the top, getting those hamstrings stretched out, all right? Now we're fully standing on up, going ahead, continuing that sequence, all right? Let's get here, guys. Last thing we got for our dynamic warm-up, and then we're gonna get into our mobility work for the day. All right, perfect. All righty, guys. Good work. All right. We are done with both our static and our dynamic warm-up stretching for the day. All right, so hopefully you guys feel nice and loose here. Hopefully we're feeling good. Next up, we're gonna get into those 4 hip mobility exercises. All right, I'll go over the exercise. We'll go through a few reps. A set or 2 for each of these, all right, just so you guys get a feel, know what you're doing here, okay? But in your own time, guys, like I typically say, these mobility exercises are kind of, think of them like an appetizer for a meal, all right? You're not gonna pick every single one every time you're going through your mobility routine, all right? But pick and choose the ones that feel comfortable for you, something that you guys feel like you can make a sustainable habit, all right? Like I said, you guys, it's gonna help strengthen that hip socket, right? That hip joint, all right? And it's also going to increase that range of motion, all right? Giving us a little bit more flexibility, okay? To start off, guys, we're gonna do a true and tried exercise, which you guys don't even need any equipment for, all right? And that is gonna be the bear in the woods, all right? With a T-spine rotation, all right? So for this exercise, guys, like I said, body weight here, okay? This exercise is going to, like I said, work that hip joint area, all right? But this exercise is also gonna be working kind of every aspect of the lower body, okay? So adductors, that inner groin area, all right? That ankle joint, all right? Working on that type of mobility, range of motion, all right? And it's gonna get everything involved as far as the T-spine as well, okay? That thoracic spine. All right, so for this exercise, guys, this we're just gonna do for time here. So we're gonna do about a minute, all right? Once you guys get into about shoulder width position, all right, you guys can go ahead and sink on down. And we're gonna see how low we can go, all right? Trying to eventually get into this bear in the woods position, all right? So hopefully you guys are here. If you're not, try to be as close as you can, all right? Once you guys are down here in this position, you guys should be feeling it everywhere in here, all right? Try to use those elbows to press those knees apart to really get a deeper groin area stretch, all right? As far as that T-spine rotation, you guys, here, it's just basically gonna be looking up, guiding that hand up to the sky, all right? So here, you're pressing away with that opposite elbow, reaching all the way up, looking all the way up, coming back down, all right? That's gonna be getting that T-spine engaged, all right? And during that whole time, you're getting that lower body moving and grooving, all right? So for this, guys, you can basically start off your mobility, hip work, or any type of lower body stretching, all right? With a minute or so of this, and try to getting about 4 to 8 cycles of these T-spine rotations. Okay, all right, so looking up, guiding that arm, pressing with that opposite elbow. All right, once you get about 6 to 8 of those cycles in, you guys can add in a little bit of movement down at the bottom here to help out the knee, ankle, and once again, those hip joints getting going. All right, so like I said, about a minute here, okay? That may vary. You guys could go a little bit under that, a little bit over that if you guys need more time. All right, but like I said, 6 to 8 cycles, and you guys probably don't need to do any more than about a minute or so of that, okay? That's the first hip mobility movement we got here today. Second hip mobility movement that we're gonna get into, you guys, is another true and tried exercise. And this is again gonna be another body weight movement, and this is what is called the world's greatest stretch, all right? It's named that for the simple fact that you're getting pretty much all of the body engaged, all of it stretched out, all right? But like I said, emphasis here is we are trying to get that hip stretched out, all right? Which it definitely accomplishes, definitely gets that range of motion going, okay? All right, so starting position for this, guys, we're gonna be in a high plank position, okay? All right, for this, guys, to start that movement, we're bringing that same leg or same foot as far as we can to that same hand, all right? Getting it as close as we can, all right? Once we're here, guys, we're going ahead shifting into that front knee, all right? You guys can drop that knee to the ground if you need to, all right? Once you guys do this, you guys are getting that ankle going. Obviously, that hip is going, and that knee should be going as well. All right? Once you guys get about 3 to 5 seconds laying in, you guys should be going down as far as you can go. Try to get that elbow and that top of your shoulder as close as you can into the ground. Once you guys do that, you guys should feel a deep stretch in that hip socket area. All right, once again, hold that for about 2 to 4 seconds. All right, next movement we're gonna do is gonna be opening up into that front knee, okay? Getting that T-spine engaged, all right? And getting some of that external rotation, all right? After you guys get that T-spine rotation, you're gonna bring that hand back down into that starting position, kick that foot back, all right, and then you're just gonna go ahead and alternate that out, all right? So we'll go through here, guys. We'll get through about 6 to 8 reps, okay? And when you guys are doing these, focus on quality, okay? Don't rush getting into that position, okay? Shifting back and forth. Really hold and isolate certain spots, okay, to help increase that range of motion, strengthen that joint, all right? Because quality is going to serve us well better than doing more quantity, I guess what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's get 6 to 8 reps here, guys. All right, alternate those feet, shift into that knee. All right, try to get that shoulder as far as we can. Open up, bring that hand back down, and then we're kicking that leg back. Nice, guys. All right, you guys can go through a few more of those if you would like. All right, like I said, that's that second movement we got here. That's gonna be the world's greatest stretch. As far as sets, reps for that exercise, you guys could do that 4 reps, or you could do it 4 times. All right, just depending on, what you're going for. If you're really taking your time and just kind of holding each leg for a while, you guys can just do that for time, okay? Minute and a half should be fine. If you're doing it for sets and reps, you guys can do 1 to 3 sets, all right? Like I said, about 6 to 10 reps should be fine per set, all right? Just focusing on the quality, okay? All right, next movement that we are going to go over here, all right, is going to be what is called hip CAR, or C-A-R, all right? That's just gonna stand for controlled articular rotations, all right? Starting position for this exercise is going to be a tabletop position, okay? So we're on all 4 here, all right? When you guys are in this position doing this exercise, focus on keeping that core nice and tight, okay? All right? Keeping it nice and tight and keeping our arms in a solid base like so. Okay, so when you guys are doing this, making sure that we're not dropping to our elbow or opening it up or doing anything like that. Staying strong, keeping the core tight throughout. All right? This exercise is going to be focusing on a single side per time. All right? And it's going to start off with a flexion of the knee to that same elbow. Okay, so bringing that knee nice and tight. All right, from here, we're abducting that leg away. All right, putting it through that range of motion, kicking back. All right, and then we're coming back, putting it back through that range of motion, back to that elbow, and back to that starting position. Okay, all right, so like I said, throughout that whole time, you guys are staying strong through the core. All right, abducting away, going through that range of motion, coming back, keeping that hip high, to the elbow and back. All right, so this exercise, guys, focusing on controlling the whole time is key, okay? Also, making sure, like I've been saying, keeping that core nice and tight, keeping that front base nice and supported. All right, and then when you guys are doing this, just making sure that you are keeping that hip nice and high as you're going through that range of motion, okay? All right, so go slow, all right? Go through it. As far as sets and reps for these hip CARs, you guys can do 1 to 3 sets, all right? And I would recommend anywhere from 4 to 8 reps per leg for those articular rotations, okay? All right, once you guys get comfortable with that position, you guys can go ahead and perform a more, not more intense, but a different varying intensity of standing hip CARs, okay? That motion is gonna be very similar, okay? Where you're going through that flexion, abduction, coming back, and then hitting everything once again, okay? So you guys can get comfortable on the ground doing that tabletop position, and then as you guys advance, you guys can switch to a standing position hip CAR, okay? So like I said, guys, that's gonna do one of the best, that's gonna be one of the best mobility exercise to actually put that hip through that full range of motion, okay? So it's key to go as slow as possible, all right? Putting it through those varying levels of where it typically is at, all right? Like I said, those are the sets of reps I recommend, about 1 to 3, 4 to 8 reps per side, okay? All right, so those are our first 3 exercises. The 4th mobility movement that we are gonna go through is going to do a good job of strengthening those hip flexors, okay? So for this exercise, this movement, we're gonna use those yoga blocks, like I said earlier. All right, if you guys don't have yoga blocks, that's okay. All right, I'll get this set up and just kind of explain what you can do if you don't have these, okay? So for this, guys, you're pretty much just gonna wanna start off, and our starting position is gonna be seated with legs out in front, okay? Making sure that we're keeping that torso neutral and upright, okay? So core should be engaged, all right? We're nice and tall here, not slumped, nice and tall, core engaged. All right? With these yoga blocks, I'm going to start off with my right leg, right side here. All right, so I'm going to set up 3 yoga blocks roughly about a foot or so apart. And what I'm going to be doing with them, okay, is we're going to be moving this right leg through each varying degree. Okay, so you guys can do more than 3. Okay, you can do less than that. All right, you can just do 1, 2, 3, whatever you guys want to do. But basically, the goal here is to put that hip through varying degrees. Okay, and isolating and controlling with that hip flexor the whole time. Okay, all right. While we're doing that, we're keeping everything nice and forward. Okay, so when you guys set out these blocks or whatever you guys are using as barriers, you're kind of going to do kind of like a semicircle positioning. Okay, because obviously not everything's going to be in line, in a straight line. Okay, all right. So like I said, guys, when you're doing this, okay, keeping everything nice and tight. All right, if you guys need to, you guys can have hands behind here for a little added support, added bounce. As you guys get comfortable, as this becomes easier, you guys can go ahead and make it tougher by not using your hands. Okay, just using that core to keep everything nice and tight. Okay, so when you guys are doing this, keep that leg relatively straight. Okay, control going all the way down. Okay, and if, like I said, if you have more yoga blocks or some type of barrier available, you guys can open it up even more to get a greater range of motion. Okay, work through that range of motion. As you guys get more comfortable, you guys can make it farther and farther away. So it's going to be a deeper and greater range of motion as far as that hip socket goes. As far as sets and reps for that, you guys, I definitely recommend doing about 1 to 3 sets. And as far as reps per leg, you guys can do anything from 4 to 10 reps per leg. Okay, down and back, however you want to think about it. But yeah. That's going to be our 4th mobility exercise, all right? I know I went through them relatively quickly, all right, but I hope you guys got a good understanding as far as what those movements are, what they're trying to accomplish, and how you can kind of get those set up yourself, okay? So like I said, obviously, yoga blocks not necessary. You guys can have any type of barrier to kind of segment, put little segments in on the floor, okay? All right, so utilize those, guys. Whatever exercises out of those you found helpful, you guys can include those in your hip mobility regimen to increase that range of motion, strengthen that hip flexor, and just strengthen overall all of the lower body joints, but specifically that hip joint, all right? So next up, guys, we're gonna get into that little core finisher, all right? Like I said, it's gonna be 4 exercises here, all right? We're gonna do 2 rounds, and all of it's gonna be timed, okay? So as equipment, guys, I'll be using 3 dumbbells of moderate weight. So if you guys wanna grab that, go ahead and do so. If you guys don't have weights available to you, that's fine. Just go ahead and grab 3 different objects, all right, from light to moderate intensity. Once you guys get those weights, you guys can go ahead. We're just gonna get them to one side. Okay, so first exercise that we're gonna do, we're gonna be doing a plank, move the weight. All right, so this exercise is gonna be working that core isometrically, all right, by holding us in a plank position. All right, so starting position, we're up here in this high plank position. All right, what we're gonna be doing with this move the weight, okay, is going to be basically moving all these weights over to that other side. So reaching through, pulling across, reaching through, pulling across, reaching through, pulling across, and then we're resetting. Okay? All right? Here we're working shoulder dexterity as well as core strengthening. Okay? All right? For the first round, I'll go over each exercise prior to doing it, just so I'm not relaying everything that we're doing from the jump. Okay? So get those weights to a side, guys. Like I said, round 1 here, or round 1 and 2, we're all going to be timed. Okay, so get those weights to your side. Round 1 here, guys, we got 45 seconds on the clock. Move those weights, keep that butt low. Let's get it in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Stop it in 3, 2, 1, and stop. Woo. All right, guys. Next exercise, we're going to be on our backs. You guys can go ahead and flip it on over. All right. Next up, we're going to be doing flutter kicks. All right. So here we're going to be working that low part of the core. All right. Focus on keeping those legs relatively straight. All right. If you guys are too tight in the hip flexors, you guys can just keep your legs off the ground about 6 inches. Okay. All right. We got this for 35 seconds. Flutter kicks. Let's get it in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Stop it in 3, 2, 1, and stop. All right, you guys can sit it on up. Next exercise we're going to do is going to be a Russian twist variation. All right, it's going to be very similar to that first exercise we did, only instead of being in that high plank position, moving the weight in that position, we're going to be moving the weight from the Russian twist position. Okay, so bow pose position. All right, all your weights to one side, okay? We're picking up, rotating, moving on over, moving all the weights to one side, moving right back, okay? Make sure you guys are focusing on quality reps here, okay? Make sure we're not just hand tapping, we're throwing the weights across, okay? Moving to one side, moving on back. If you guys can keep your feet up, that's great. If not, have those heels slightly touching, okay? Got this for 35 seconds. Let's get it here in 3, 2, 1. Let's go, guys. Move those weights. And we're stopping in 3, 2, 1, and stop. Woo. All right, guys, go ahead and flip it on over to your stomach. Last thing we got here for round 1, gonna be plank jacks. All right, so this exercise, we're gonna be in that high plank position once again. All right, and with our feet, we're either doing those jumping jacks, hopping them out, keeping the butt low, or we're toe tapping. Okay? All right, modify it by toe tapping. Same thing, keep the butt low, guys. Last thing we got, plank jacks, 35 seconds. Let's get it here in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it, guys. Stop it in 3, 2, 1, and stop. All right. Nice, guys. We're going to take a quick little 30 seconds off here, real quick. If you need water real quick, get it. Okay? We're going to have one more round coming up of that core work. All right, so back to the top of that plank. Move the weight. All right? Get those weights to one side. Move them on over. Move them on back. Keep the butt low. All right? Get water, get back to that starting spot. Alrighty, guys. 40 seconds on the clock. Get those weights ready. Round 2, let's go to work in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Stop it in 3, 2, 1, and stop. All right, flip it on over your backside. Next up, flutter kicks. We got this for 30 seconds. Whew. Let's get it, guys, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Stopping in 3, 2, 1, and stop. All right, flip it on over into the boat pose position. Next up, we got that Russian twist assembly line. So get those weights to one side here, all right? Boat pose position, rotate on over, move those weights. 30 seconds on the clock. Let's get it in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Stop it in 3, 2, 1, and stop. Alrighty, guys, flip it on over your stomach. Last thing we got today are plank jacks. All right, 30 seconds on the clock. Let's keep that butt low, guys. Keep that core engaged one more time. Let's get it here in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Stop it in 3, 2, 1, and stop. Woo! So I'm talking about, you guys. Good work. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's class. All right. Hopefully you guys got a nice stretch. Hopefully you guys got a little more knowledge in the bank. Okay. Take those hip mobility movements. Use them in your daily routine. All right. Weekly routine to get those hips nice and loosened up. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that core finisher. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this workout. If you did, please be sure to like, comment what you liked about it, comment what you didn't like about it. We always appreciate the feedback. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are staying safe. Until next time, guys, take care. We'll see you in the next video.